Hi and welcome back to Candid Talk with Adele. As always, we give you so much information in such a little snippet of time, but we do believe that to add value to your life. We know that you can share it with a friend, so do subscribe, do tell us or leave a comment, but most importantly, if you can let us know what you want us to talk about in the other episodes, we'll be happy to do that. I'm still seated with a beautiful Mercy today, and we're going to take you through adoption. How much do you know about adoption? Let's get started. Welcome back, beautiful.
I'm very glad to be here. It's always a pleasure. It should become
Yes.
Candid Talks with Adele and Mercy.
Yes, yes, we shall have some legally speaking with Mercy. A segment specifically made for Mercy, but we're always happy to have you.
I'm honored to be here.
So we have people who are struggling with adoption. We got this in a comment section from a lady who wanted Mercy to respond to adoption. What is adoption in the first place? What it entails, and is it only for the rich? Because I think she's struggling with fertility issues.
Yes, sure.
And she wanted to know how best can adoption be handled. What is adoption?
So adoption is legal process of obtaining rights and responsibilities over a child. And this can be from their parents or from, child care homes where children who do not have families are placed. And so by definition in itself, those rights that you will accrue through that adoption order are permanent in nature. So you literally, legally become the parent of this child. So you have the full rights and responsibilities that biological parents have.
Is it the same as the legal guardianship?
No.
Because we confuse it.
No. So legal guardianship is also a legal process of obtaining rights and responsibilities over a child. But unlike adoption, which is permanent, legal guardianship is usually temporary in nature. And most times it comes about where maybe an applicant does not fully satisfy the requirements for an adoption. So you will be granted legal guardianship, which you can have for a period of time, and pending your desire to maybe wanting to fully adopt such a child.
I really wanted to have that separation made clear because
Very important.
There's a bit of confusion.
Yes, sure.
Adoption and legal guardianship.
Sure.
So in this case, who is eligible to adopt in Uganda?
Okay. So in Uganda, any adult above 25 years can adopt. So that's why adoption is such a good thing to do. It's a very satisfying thing to do. And I know that many people usually, stigmatize adoption. And even when I've had, children myself, I feel like it's something that I would want to do. Because I just want to give a home to a child. So anybody watching this episode, I'm giving this information with all the happiness in my heart that it's possible and it's something maybe we should all explore. So you have to be an adult above 25 years. And you also have to at least be 21 years older than the child that you are going to adopt. And of course, there are certain dimensions that are very sticky that I'll need to address. One of them is that if you are a couple that wants to adopt, that means both of you must agree.
Must consent to it.
Yes, you must.
Mercy shouldn't bring the child home.
Yes,
when
exactly.
The husband has
does
no
not
idea
know. Yes.
What is happening? Because
yes, exactly.
Is it safe for the child?
Exactly. Because at all times you have to take into consideration the best interest of a child, and then you cannot adopt a child of the opposite sex unless in exceptional circumstances.
Is it when you're a single parent? Or?
Well, it's not just a single parent, but even when you're just single, you're not married, but you'd like to, because there are people who are not married but would like to adopt. So it's only in exceptional circumstances that court determines that you can adopt, like I can adopt a male child. Because again, we have to be cautious about the welfare of a child, and you have to always put the best interest of a child before anything else. And then also, for you to be able to adopt, you should have fostered this child for a period of 36 months. during this period you're fostering this child, but also under the supervision of, you know, social welfare officers, the probation officers. If it's from a child care home, they have their social workers who you know, monitor that you are doing the right things, and it's like a practice period to see that you're actually fostering this child the way that,
or raising the child in the
right way.
That's 2 years.
Yes, yes. And then also beyond this, you have to be a person of good mental and physical health. That is very, very important, because to place a child in the care of another person, it's very important that you are in a good physical and mental health
so they
situation.
do like a medical check?
Yes, yes.
It's
always proved.
Parents, you
yes.
do, and then you attach those documents before they actually give you
give you an order. Yes, yes. So you have to have medical records that show that you're in that place. But also, I know that in some circumstances, or almost in most circumstances, they have to prove that you're financially able to take care of a child. And that's not to say that you have to be rich, but it is that you have the financial ability to take care of a child, because you will not give a child a home and then this child you cannot meet their basic needs, because part of parental responsibility, even under the law, is to provide for the child. And there are very specific dimensions in the law, like health, their clothing, their accommodation, and all of that.
Education.
That are fundamental needs, of a child. So it's always one of those core requirements that you must be in a position to provide for such a child.
Actually, the person who asked that question was more hinging around that. Is
Yes.
it only for the rich? That was in quotation, and that's why I needed us to be more specific to this person, that you can adopt, but you should be able
to take care of a child.
This child.
Because raising children is an uphill task. They're very demanding in nature. I guess you know this. So you cannot have a child, otherwise it will wear you down as well, even as a person, if you are unable to. Yes.
So
you have to be ready and financially, physically, in every way prepared to take on this full responsibility of a child. Of course, that's for Ugandans, but then for foreigners, it's literally almost the same requirements, except there are a few dimensions that are very unique to foreigners, like the fact that you need to have a clean criminal record from your country. You also have to prove that your country will be willing to respect the adoption order
of the Ugandan government.
Exactly. And even while you adopt this child, your background and everything that you are in your home country has to be clearly spelled out, that you're not going to take this child and go to your country and then do other things with such a child. Of course, the other requirements of making sure that your embassies also are aware of your need, and your country back home is aware of your need to want to adopt a child, and this has been granted, that you can actually adopt this child. That is very important, because usually for us to monitor how children are beyond the Ugandan jurisdiction, we work through that relationship between our government and the different governments. So it's very important that we also have proof of the fact that they are aware that you're pursuing an adoption.
What I'm hearing is that child's welfare comes first,
and the best interest of the child is always at the forefront.
At all times.
Yes, and adoption is not cast in stone. So at any point before the order is passed, it can be revoked. Yeah.
What documentation should someone be having at hand to be able to make this process a bit easier?
Yeah, so one of them is, consent letters, especially where the parents of such a child are living. They must be able to fully consent, and this consent has to be legally obtained. It shouldn't be obtained by threat. It shouldn't be obtained through, bribes or giving money. It should be informed consent that we are giving, because you're forfeiting these rights forever. So that's very important. Of course, medical records are very important. That usually happens to prove that you are of good mental and physical health. Of course, the financial documents. So they may ask you to either provide a title deed or your bank statement or something that shows that. If you're employed, your employer has to write a letter because of your conduct. It's very important to know who this person is. The report of the social welfare officers is very, very important, because remember, you fostered this child for 36 months and they've been monitoring, so their report informs the decision of the courts. So that is always a very important part of that.
And there a way of going behind the scenes with these welfare people?
It is very difficult. It is very difficult too. Of course, that's not to say that people have not abused these processes before. Sometimes the processes are fluid, but I think Uganda has tightened its adoption processes to a level that even the social welfare officers do their best to check, to ensure that they're making the right decisions. For foreigners, of course, as we mentioned earlier, proof of your country, willing to respect the adoption order made in Uganda, but also their knowledge of the fact that you're pursuing an adoption of a child, a letter that shows you're a citizen of good criminal record, that you're not a criminal and you do not have any past criminal history that would otherwise jeopardize the welfare of such a child.
Very true. I think at the end of it all, what we are doing is trying to make sure that you understand the processes of adoption.
Yes.
But also, the welfare of the child
is very important. And I forgot two important things. The birth certificate of a child is one of the key documents, and also the death certificate where the parents of such a child have passed away.
And if they are alive?
If they are alive, their consent.
Their consent.
Yeah.
Yeah, very true. I think everything has been covered.
Yes.
The elements that you need to know when you're doing an adoption, or if you want to adopt, don't sit back and hesitate. We've made it so easy for you, And thank you, Mercy, for that.
Yes, thank you too.
We are going to take a break, and when we come back in the next episode, which will be next week, be sure to listen to something very, very key. You don't want to miss out. In the meantime, subscribe to Candid Talk with Adelle. Come to Eliana Hotel, enjoy the ambience, and we'll see you next time. Bye.